Tell us what the highlights are here.
So there are a few things that we were looking at in this bill that reconciles the versions between the House passed version and the Senate passed version. There are a few things that mostly went the direction of the Senate bill, including the individual brackets for the income tax. So we have 7 brackets instead of the 4 that were in the House bill. Those rate cuts for individuals will also expire before the 10-year budget window. They will expire in 2025. And the corporate rate cut will be 21% instead of the 20% that was in the House and Senate bill. We were also looking at things like the child tax credit that Marco Rubio had said he wanted a more generous credit for working families, and he was able to plus that up a little bit. So there's a lot of compromises in here, but ultimately it looks like a bill that will be able to make it over the final hurdles in the House and the Senate.
So what are those final hurdles? Tell us what's next.
It looks like they're pretty much on their way politically. They have all the support they need in the Senate, it looks like, after Bob Corker and Marco Rubio decided today that they would get on board. In the House, it looks like they're in pretty good shape as well. The only thing we're looking for now, I think, is the test to pass the Senate budget rules. This bill is moving through a process called reconciliation that allows it to get around a filibuster in the Senate. So under those rules, there are certain restrictions on what the bill can look like, and there'll be one more scrub of this bill to make sure that it complies with all of those rules.
Now, when will we see the actual effects of this legislation, assuming it's passed?
Well, that's one of the big hurries that Republicans had to get this bill through the legislative process in really only about a month and a half. They wanted to make sure that this bill would be signed by President Trump this year and would be enacted on January 1st, 2018. And the political reason for that is that they wanted to make sure that the effects of this tax cut, any economic growth that would come from this, any benefits for individuals, would already be in place before the midterms in 2018.
So talk to me then about the significance of this, being, potentially a major policy victory, the first major policy victory for President Trump.
Yeah, you really can't downplay how important this is for Republicans and for the president. Their failure to repeal and replace Obamacare was a huge, almost humiliating moment, and it was one of their campaign promises that they were not able to deliver on. With these tax cuts, regardless of whether or not you think it's good economic policy, this is a great political win for them, and it's something that is going to give a lot of energy to their other legislative priorities, such as Speaker Ryan spoke yesterday of reforming entitlements in the new year, looking at ways to get people from welfare to work, looking at ways to shrink the social safety net so that more people are in the workforce and less people are relying on government handouts.